Hi, welcome to Time Out with Coach Ware. Glad to have you this evening. Glad you're listening to us. Hopefully, we can impart some words of wisdom that will help you. And tonight, my thought process is, and what I've been thinking and deciding on a long time since I've made a Time Out video, but I wanted the next one to be a little bit more of importance and hopefully touch your heart and your mind. And so tonight, I'm going to talk about thinking about it. This comes from a real life experience that I had and my family had, and I want to share that with you this evening for coaches and for parents. As for coaches, I hope you can take this story and use it in your recruiting and just dealing with your parents. And you can always use my name. I always have them come to this video and look at it. But I think it will help you. A lot of times you have issues with parents. You can always, reference this timeout segment. Parents, I think this is a video that will help you get a better understanding of how sometimes it's better just to control your emotions and not let your anger or you're upset about coaches not playing your son or daughter enough or not playing them at all, or even the certain amount of time and whatever. Sometimes it's better just to allow coaches to work through the process and give them an opportunity to evaluate your child and evaluate your daughters to see where they are in the scheme of things in the development of the program and with the development of their growth as individuals and as athletes. So again, this story, this timeout segment, is going to be about an honest and true confession. I was blessed, and my wife and my family, we were blessed. We had a very athletic son. He was a preemie. He was born 6 weeks too early, and he was a preemie. But he was blessed. He came out well developed and grew up and was very blessed with a lot of athletic skills. I don't know if this became from his dad or his grandpa. I don't know. I think it's his dad, but that's here nor there. He played. I coached him in Little League baseball. I coached him in Little League basketball for a minute. But when he got to middle school, I put him into a different program and let the other coaches coach him. And I just sat back and watched and learn and grow and learn things for myself as well. I had already been coaching before he was born for about 15 years. So he played college football at one of the most prestigious high schools in the state of Michigan. He played high school basketball, in the state of Michigan at St. Martin de Porres. St. Martin de Porres is closed now. It was a Catholic school, private Catholic school. It's one of the most dominant athletic schools in the history of Michigan, let alone academically. We sent 95% of our students to college. Test scores were very high. His freshman year, he was brought on. I had been a baseball coach there a couple of years earlier, so I knew the staff and I knew mostly everyone there. So he was brought on, and my son was undersized for, as you would say, and so he got on the team, and I knew the coach real well, and I said, Coach Carter, Greg Carter was his coach, do what you can, see if he can help you out, see what you need. He gave me that look like, I don't know, he's kind of small, Coach. I said, well, I know, just give him a try. So he did. To make a long story short, he wound up starting. So he started as a freshman on the O-line. He wound up starting the whole 4 years he was at, the 2 years he was at St. Martin de Porres. St. Martin de Porres closed after his sophomore year. So the majority of those athletes that were at St. Martin de Porres moved on to Inkster High School, which was a high school that hadn't won 6 games in 4 years. It was a really bad record. The entire de Porres staff went to Inkster and developed that program within a year. The first year that we were in the semis, I want to believe, we won more games than they had won in the previous 5 years. Went to the second year, went to the state championship game, went to the state championship game my son's junior year. I mean, junior year and senior year. Didn't win, but very competitive. But he had won the state championship his freshman year at St. Martin de Porres. De Porres had a long history of winning state championships. At the time, we had locked in the 12th state championship for the football program. So during his senior year, he had hurt himself in his junior year because he was playing fullback. And he didn't get an opportunity to play because it was early in the year. So he didn't get a lot of looks as far as fullback and D-line. He was about 5'10" at the time. So obviously a 5'10" D-lineman isn't, somebody that every coach is going to be looking for. But he also played linebacker. He was a hell of a linebacker. He really was great athletic. So he played linebacker, fullback, and D-line when they needed him. So he didn't get a lot of looks because of his junior year and things getting hurt, tore his ankle really bad. Senior year had a good year. Again, got a couple small school recruits, but nothing big. So we were blessed to have a lot of relationships with the University of Michigan. So we asked Coach Carter, and I say we, I'm talking about Inkster's athletic director in the program. And it wasn't so much me, but it was Greg Carter and the football coaches relaying that message to Coach Carr, Lloyd Carr, who was the head football coach at the university at the time. And Lloyd had met him a couple of years ago because he came up there to visit. Lloyd said, yeah, great, no problem. I'm glad to have him. So Lloyd let him come on as a walk-on. Well, Coach Carr retired that same year before the season started, and they brought in Coach Rich Rod. So my son had to wait another year, and then Coach Rich Rod had tryouts, and he brought him on. So as bringing him on, he was a walk-on again. He was a small D lineman. Wasn't gonna, he could make an impact, but he was more so just on that practice squad and just getting in a lot of reps and so forth. Well, going into his senior year, they were playing Delaware State. And I'm still coaching at the college level. Actually, I was coaching at the University of Michigan in Dearborn, the men's basketball program and the women's basketball program. And so University of Delaware, they're winning by 64-3, something like that. It was a blowout. My son played in that game. The next game we played in, they were blowing out another team, and it was fourth quarter, and they were up by 25. And my son didn't play, and we're watching the clock go down. We're thinking he's gonna get in and play, and I'm starting to steam, and my wife is getting upset, and my son's on the field, so I didn't know what his approach was or how he felt. But after the game, when we went to go meet them all outside the locker rooms, he was mad. He didn't even go to dinner, so he never missed dinner. We took him to dinner. He was gonna go and eat whatever he could eat. But he didn't want to eat. He just wanted to go straight home. That's when I knew he was really upset. And I said to my wife, I'm calling Rich Rod. I'm calling the D-line coach. This is not right. You up by 20-something points with 5 minutes left. You don't even let a young man play. I said, I just think that's, atrocious. And, I'm not going to, I see how my son is hurting. And I was upset. And this was actually a Saturday, obviously. Sunday, I was a little bit calmer, but I was still upset. No, I'm still calling. Okay, I'm not going to call Rich Rod, but I'm going to call the D-line coach. All right, and tell the D-line coach, this is not fair. So as it got later in the day and got close to Sunday, I said to my, I'm ready to make this call come Monday. In my spirit, we're very religious and very faith-based family. I said, no, don't call. I said, no, I'm calling. You don't know how he's hurt my son. I'm mad, my wife's mad, and it's just not fair. So I need to at least get this out of me and complain about this and let how I feel and let my son know I'm standing up for him because that's my son. My spirit's like, no, don't do it. I said, Lord, you don't know what has been done to my baby. So, I listened to my spirit and to myself and said, all right, I'm not going to make this phone call. So this happened to be the week of the University of Michigan State game. So, I'm feeling kind of bad for my son, and he ain't called us. And then come Wednesday, we get a phone. I'm getting a phone call, and I'm looking at my phone. And it's my son. When your children are in college, they only want one. The only time they call you, they need money or they're hungry. Those are the only two times they call you. And they don't call you for anything else. Money, hungry, maybe if they're in trouble, but they don't even call you for any trouble. So anyway, my son, I call. I said, hey, Dominique. Name's Dominique Ware. I said, hey, Dominique, what's going on? He said, hey, Dad. I said, hey, man, what's going on? You okay? Everything all right? He said, yeah, I'm doing fine. I said, okay, great. So I said, what's going on? He said, guess what? I said, well, I don't know what. Tell me what. You sound kind of strange. He said, guess what? I said, what? He said, Coach Rich Rod named me captain of the Michigan State Michigan game. And I'm saying to myself, wow. He said, yeah. I said, what'd you say? He said, Coach Rich Rod named me and another one of our teammates captains of the Michigan and Michigan State game. And I'm just stunned. And as I'm stunned, I'm saying to myself, if I had made that call, do you think he'd have became captain of the Michigan State game? If you don't know, the answer is no. He wouldn't have been captain of the Michigan State game. And that's the point of the story. As much as we want to feel as though like we want to defend our children, we want to protect our children, we think things are not fair, you have to trust your coaches that they see and recognize things. And they didn't just recognize him because of the talent, but his behavior, his attitude, his disposition, the way he worked hard, even though he wasn't playing nowhere near as much as he would have liked to have played. But Coach Rich Rod and that staff and that entire staff looked at him, looked at his character, looked at the way he behaved, and also how his parents behaved and how his parents didn't put their 2 cents in on everything that went. And you take all that and put that together, and my son had one of the greatest honor you could ever have to be a University of Michigan student, let alone on the football team, and you're the captain of the Michigan State game. So the point is this: before you make that phone call your high school coach, or even call your college coach, or even your little league coach, stop, think, breathe. Trust the coaches. You're allowing the coaches to coach your child. So you got to have some faith in those coaches and know that they see what they see and they know what they know. And 99% of the time, the blessing and the joy will come from it. But I tell you this, and this is my last part of this, there's no way on God's green earth he is the captain of that game if I make that phone call. But I didn't make that phone call for a couple of reasons. First of all, the Spirit really told me not to, and I followed the Spirit. The second thing was, as a coach, I understand that you still have to sit back sometimes and just watch and learn. And that was my process in that, understanding that I just had to sit back and watch and learn. And I watched and learned. And as a recruiter and as a coach at University of Michigan Dearborn, every time we had recruits come into that building, I told them that story. Because I wanted them to understand you're going to see things and you're going to hear things that you may not like and you may not agree with, but trust us, we have the best interest of your child in our hands and in our mind. We're looking at character. We're looking at parent involvement. We're looking at grades. We're looking at attitude. Those are all the things as coaches we look for in our students. We look for character. We look for young men and women who understand that they may not have all the opportunities that others on that team does. But however, you are one of the best players because you're on this team. And it doesn't matter the name of the school or the club. Because you're on that team, a coach has enough confidence in you and sees the ability in you to be what you can be for that program and for yourself. So parents, don't take that away from your children. Don't allow your emotions and your feelings to affect the way and the blessings or the opportunities that may come. Trust your coaches. If you trust them with your son, you ought to trust them with the decision making that they can make. All right? I know that's a lot longer than 5 minutes today, but I wanted to share that with you. I've held that in my heart for a while, and I just wanted to kind of get that out before football season already started, and basketball season is coming. So I just wanted to share that with my coaches and my parents, and I hope if you have any feedback or thoughts on that, Please reach out for me. Leave a note down. If you like it, please subscribe. I appreciate it. God bless you. Hey, remember, know your why. God bless you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.